Ladies and gentlemen, again, I'm Gwendolyn Savato, and I represent the plaintiff, Peyton Reynolds. As you have heard today, Peyton Reynolds is a struggling single mom working to provide for her son. With her current financial situation, you know as well as I do how difficult it would be for her to pay for her son's medical expenses. As you have heard, Avery Harris and Pat Reynolds broke curfew and left the hotel. But you have also heard about Pat's unfortunate medical condition. As Peyton Reynolds stated, she made certain the school was aware of the condition. Ladies and gentlemen, as the plaintiff, we have the burden of proof, meaning I have to prove each of the elements of our claim of negligence by a preponderance of evidence, which is 51%. As the judge will explain to you, negligence is the failure to use a certain degree of care. We have proven that Dalton Fisher and Smithville School District are in fact negligent. Whether or not Dalton Fisher knew about Pat's medical condition is unknown, but it was undoubtedly his responsibility to know about it and deal with it if the situation arose. As you heard in Avery Harris's testimony, Dalton Fisher did not answer when Pat went to get him. Avery Harris also stated that when Pat told Dalton Fisher he wasn't feeling well, all that Dalton did was tell him to find food. This is one of the many things that shows his negligence. This negligence is clearly a proximate cause of the incident. Had Dalton Fisher fulfilled his duty as a chaperone and dealt with Pat's medical condition, Pat would have never had to leave the hotel in the first place. Bailey Thompson also helped us understand why Smithville School District was negligent. It was Smithville School District's responsibility to keep the kids safe. They chose to put the children's safety at risk when they failed to train Dalton Fisher and chose not to follow their overnight trip policy. This is undoubtedly a breach of duty. As educators, and as in any field of work with children, safety should be top priority. Safety should have been Smithville School District's top priority, but they have shown us it simply wasn't. Knowing this, you have no choice but to go into the jury room and decide a verdict in favor of the plaintiff. Now, ladies and gentlemen, the defendants will try to prove to you that they are entitled to a safe harbor inference. As the judge will explain to you, in order for the defense to have a safe harbor, they would have had to break no policies. Yet, you have heard from their own witnesses that they in fact broke their student-to-teacher overnight trip chaperone policy. You've also heard a ridiculous story from the defendants that Pat and Avery were on their way to a party at Metropolitan University. This story simply doesn't make sense. As you have heard from many witnesses, including those of the defense, Pat is a great kid. Dalton Fisher and Jameson Manning sat on the stand and told you the extensive process which goes into choosing the most well-behaved students to go on this trip. If Pat is in fact such a great kid, why would he do something so extremely out of character? The defense has also brought up the fact that Peyton Reynolds called the school and requested for the trip to go on. Not only is that completely irrelevant, considering parents make requests all the time, and it is up to the school to decide if it was reasonable, but she only asked the trip go on if the student-to-teacher ratio was in fact correct. As Peyton said on the stand, when she called the school, she simply said she thought she remembered the form saying that the conference required one chaperone for every 20 kids. You need to remember it is completely reasonable for parents to make requests, but it is not the parents that make the decisions. Due to all of this information, I ask that you please return a verdict in favor of the plaintiff and reward Peyton money damages to pay for medical bills, lost time, and the lost opportunity of a scholarship. Thank you for taking the time out of your day to consider this case.
Okay.